Welcome to our district leader meeting. Happy March, everyone. It's spring, hard to believe it's springtime already. It's this time of year in Ohio where we don't know whether we need to wear a raincoat, shorts, or snow boots. Sometimes all of those within the same week, which is what it feels like the past couple of weeks here. But we appreciate you taking the time to be with us here today for our district leader meeting. We know this is a busy season, a lot of things happening in the districts right now, so we appreciate you being here. We have some great updates for you, some information that you'll want to take with you and share amongst those users in your district. So again, thanks for being here. And with that, we will go ahead and get started. All right, some reminders. So we want to please, if you would remember to review the district leader updates and reminders monthly checklist. This is in our shared document repository. Within that checklist, there are to-dos, and it is broken up to by month. So things that need to be done, this time of year for various user groups. It's all outlined within that checklist. Like we said, this is a busy time of year as we prepare to close out the school year. So there are good reminders of things to be on the lookout for. We work really hard to update this document, keep it current with items to be reviewed at the various times of the school year. So again, we recommend and encourage you to check that out on a regular basis. If you have any input or feedback on the reminders checklist, please let us know. If you feel like there's some things that maybe could be added, especially certain different times of the year, we're happy to do that and add those. We also wanted to remind you to view our Meta PowerSchool events calendar for any upcoming trainings and share those trainings with any applicable users within your district. We do want to highlight a specific Power Hour that we have scheduled coming up. We are going to be having a bell schedule Power Hour training that's scheduled for March 25th. As you have heard at our meetings all year, Ohio attendance reporting guidelines, they've changed this year. So with that, we would highly encourage district leaders and any other users within your district that may maintain or work with bell schedules like your schedulers. All of those users and the district leaders, you are invited to attend this Power Hour session. We plan to share some important information and guidance on bell schedules. The attendees for this Power Hour, they'll learn how bell schedules function, how they connect with other areas of the SIS like attendance, and how to prepare for next year. So again, with those state reporting attendance updates, we really want to encourage you to register to attend this bell schedule session on March 25th. We also, yes.
The bell schedule session is actually March 19th.
March 19th, thank you. I apologize, March 19th. Perfect. And lastly, our last reminder, the PowerSchool SIS version 26.2 update that is scheduled to happen this weekend, March 15th, starting at 4 a.m. So let us know today if that date and time, if that doesn't work for your district, please reach out to us to let us know. Otherwise, we'll press forward with applying 26.2 to all of our production environments this weekend. All right, so next we want to share some information about cybersecurity. There was a recent PowerSchool webinar that some of us had attended where they shared some specific statistics that we wanted to share with our districts. 82% of K-12 schools reported significant cybersecurity incidents between 2023 and 2024. There was a 158% increase in ransomware attacks on school districts over the last 2 years alone. $3.8 million is the average cost of a data breach as of 2025. And 1.8 million total student and staff records were compromised by ransomware in 2024. So these are, some staggering numbers, and they highlight how quickly different cyber attacks are increasing. This continues to be an important topic for districts and ITCs, encouraging ongoing conversations about tightening security within student information systems, strengthening your data protection practices, and preparing for future threats. Strengthening cybersecurity is no longer optional. It's essential for protecting students, staff, and systems. So with that, we have another reminder that within PowerSchool, we here at Meta, we are strongly encouraging districts enable OIDC authentication for your user groups. You should recognize this information on the screen highlighting the OIDC flow. We have been discussing this for some time, but there was a strengthening SIS security with single sign-on and multi-factor authentication. There was an article in the Meta March newsletter. If you haven't had a chance to look at it yet, go ahead and check that out. It talks about our ongoing commitment to protecting student information and strengthening district cybersecurity. And the way to do that is by deploying single sign-on and layering MFA across your SIS platforms. So we know, enabling single sign-on, adding the MFA, those critical layers, they provide protection against unauthorized users. As we saw with those cybersecurity statistics, password-only security, it's no longer sufficient in today's threat environment. Single sign-on and multi-factor authentication, they reduce the risk of compromised accounts significantly. Unauthorized data exposure, especially when it comes to sensitive student and staff information. We've highlighted before in our past district leader meetings the benefits of single sign-on. It does simplify your access management for your district users. Not only simplifying it, it improves the oversight and control for your technology teams. As staff or students come and go, it's a simplified process then. And then when you combine single sign-on with MFA, it creates a strong authentication framework, enhancing your security and usability. So if your district has not implemented single sign-on yet, now is the time. We are ready to help. Our team can walk you through configuration options, integration considerations, and best practices to ensure a smooth rollout. We share this responsibility of protecting student data. And again, we're ready to help where we can. Implementing single sign-on, it's one of the most effective ways you can take to reduce that risk. You can reach out to us with questions you have regarding single sign-on. If you want to see how OIDC works, please, again, reach out to us. In our OIDC authentication demos, we walk through the setup involved within PowerSchool in one of our test environments. So we walk through each of those steps and we talk about what is included. And because we have worked with a number of districts now already that have implemented single sign-ons, we have great information and recommendations and tips and things in regards to enabling OIDC. So again, please submit a ticket to us if you're looking for more information. All right, so keeping with the theme of security, we would like to share with you a new customization that we have rolled out. We have created a Meta security audit page that provides you an overview of page permissions by security groups. It highlights who has edit access to high-risk pages. high risk, meaning pages that perhaps data can be changed within those pages. And so those are your high risk pages that you maybe want to view and look at who has access. So I'm going to share my train environment here. Let's pull that up. All right, so if we're in our train box here, we're going to show you where this page is and what you're going to see on that page. So within system management, you can navigate to your security section, and you'll see a new navigation link, Meta Security Audit. So again, this page is giving you details on those pages where data can be edited, deleted, etc., that you might want to tighten down who has edit access. So looking at this page, there are 3 sections identified here. We have excessive privileges, moderate privileges, and limited privileges. So excessive meaning this is where modify access is granted widely. You can review these groups that have edit access to these identified pages that maybe don't need it. Within the moderate section, this is where modify access is granted to a moderate number of groups. So you might want to just review these pages and the groups that have access to these pages and maybe consider reducing where necessary. And then the last section, limited privileges. So that's where your modify access, it's granted to a limited number of security groups. This is generally acceptable. Of course, you know your security setup, your security groups, and but this provides an overview again of those high-risk pages that again, you know, the average user probably wouldn't need access to. Only those within their roles and their tasks within the district would need access to certain pages. So you can see on this page, we have the pages listed here on the left, and on the right, we have the count of security groups with edit access. In the page column here, you can click the pop-up icon, which will open in a new tab. It'll take you to that page. So if you want to see that page, you know, what it is, you can absolutely click that pop-up to open in a new tab and review that page. In the edit access count column, you can click on the number of groups that are identified. And when you click on them, it's going to expand. So we saw we had 10 security groups with edit access to the database extensions page. We can see those groups listed out here. So this provides us, giving us some more information here. You'll also notice at the top in the right corner, there's a show all checkbox here. If you click on the show all option, you'll notice our number of groups change. So if I uncheck that, we had 10 groups. If I click show all, I now see 50 groups, 50. Within your environment, you may see 50 plus security groups, depending on how many you have set up. Most districts have non-configured security groups that are named Group 31, Group 32, and so on and so forth. These groups are kind of placeholders as you're building out your security groups as needed. So these aren't necessarily configured. So by default, when you come to this security audit page, we have hidden those security groups that start with that naming convention, group 30, group 31, those are by default hidden. But if you do use that naming convention within your district, you can certainly, again, check on that check mark box here to show all, and you'll be able to see them and again, see that additional information. So now this is, again, a way to review who has access to these high-risk pages. But if you want to make changes, if you want to tighten your security down on these pages, This is using enable page permissions to make changes. So you could see in this yellow banner where you can click the hyperlink to access page permissions. This link will only work for those users who have access to access page permissions. So I have access. So if I click on that, I'm taken to open in a new tab, taken to enable page permissions where I can turn it on, submit, and then I can go back to my Meta Security Audit page and I can refresh. And once I refresh my page, you'll see my yellow banner box is now green. It's now letting me know that page permissions is active. You'll also notice the modified access privileges at the bottom that we see when we enable page permissions. What you'll also notice is there is now an additional column where we can modify from this page. So what we can do is if we have 10 groups, security groups with edit access to database extensions, we can click on modify. This slide out is going to provide a view of the groups, the security groups with their accesses. All accesses are going to be displayed here. Again, we're looking at the 10 identified groups that have edit access. But within this slide out, you can do a lot of things. You can set all groups to a specific access if you want, or you can individually go through and make your selection changes. Database extensions is a page, again, probably not for your general users. That may be more your tech team that should have access to those pages. So if we go through and we make our changes here, and we can give some, take those, maybe if we wanted some to be read only, not necessarily no access, we make changes as needed. We can submit that, and our changes have been saved. If we close our slide out, now if we click this refresh here, we will see our database extensions is no longer displaying in our excessive privileges section. It has now moved down to our limited privileges section because we made those updates. So you can go through again. We encourage you to visit this page, take a look at which groups have edit access specifically to these high risk pages. And we would love to hear from you. We've identified some of the pages that we think are those high risk pages. If you have suggestions of pages that should be added to this list, please submit a ticket to us, our support ticket. We'd love to hear your input if there's other pages that maybe need to be reviewed. But you can see a lot of your security, we've identified a lot of security pages, DDA, again, where information can be edited, modified, deleted, your system security, all of these pages we think that you want to tighten down and maybe have a small subset of users able to access and make edits. Once you are done editing your page here, you can go back to your enable page permissions tab. You can turn your page permissions off, click submit. We go back to the security audit page. If we refresh our page, we'll see that yellow banner again where we're back to viewing the information. So we're excited and we're super grateful to our developers for helping to get this out again. Security is a continual topic these days, so we appreciate their work in getting this available and out so that you can begin to start reviewing your accesses within your districts. All right. Next, we want to talk about Jitterbit. So Jitterbit is used for a couple of different areas used by the Management Council. So first, Jitterbit is used to export Career Center satellite students' attendance from the student's resident school district and import those attendance records into the Career Center. Again, this process, it's maintained through the Management Council, and it is used by all SIS packages. We have been working with the Management Council to get this configured for PowerSchool. And as we have successfully confirmed everything is functioning correctly, you may now be contacted by your Career Center that they want to begin using Jitterbit to record satellite student attendance. If your Career Center reaches out to you with that request, you can submit a ticket to us at our support ticket line, and we will let you know what the next steps are. With the Career Centers using Jitterbit, they are instructed to create district satellite buildings within their SIS environments, one building for each district building where they have satellite students. So if you have those Career Centers from both your middle school and your high school, they would create a building for the middle school and the high school for your district within their PowerSchool SIS environment. With them creating that satellite building, the Career Center then needs to ensure they set up that building as it is within your district. So this means they need to mirror your building calendar, your attendance codes and conversions, bell schedules, etc. All of those setup things. Again, we're letting you know what the process is, but when you submit a ticket to us, we will certainly let you know what the next steps are and how to move forward with this. But we did want to make sure that you are aware. Once Jitterbit is enabled for your Career Center and the attendance information is flowing, one thing that you want to keep in mind moving forward, at the start of each school year, the Career Center will reach out to you at the district to verify your new building calendar for the new school year. And they'll also want to know if there's been any changes made specifically, with the attendance setup. So they will reach out at the beginning of each year. If you make changes, again, they want to mirror your building within their satellite building that they've created. In order to help, we're going to add a checklist item to our start of year checklist to serve as a reminder to you that your Career Center may be reaching out to you for updates. Secondly, with Jitterbit, we wanted to make you aware of a chronic absenteeism dashboard plugin that is going to be installed for our district. This has come as a request from the governor's office. They want to have a dashboard displaying student chronic absenteeism data for all Ohio school districts. So that, again, is something that we'll be working on getting done. And again, the Jitterbit will be run through the Management Council. All right. Believe it or not, the end of year is creeping up upon us. We have created a schedule for when we will be running end of years for each district. Next week, we will be creating tickets with the district leaders. And in that ticket, it'll have your end of year scheduled date. It'll also include important information that you'll want to note to prepare for end of year. Because we have 80 school districts that we are running end of year processes for, we are compiling those end of year processes within a 2-week time frame. So our schedule is very tight that we have laid out. So we're not able to adjust these dates, except in very narrow, specific, dire circumstances. So please keep that in mind as you receive your end of year scheduled date, and that you communicate it out with your district users accordingly. Upon receiving the ticket next week and the associated date, again, work with the appropriate staff in your district to complete the end of year checklist, start having the conversations about end of year. Those preparations can start now. You also want to check with your staff using PowerScheduler to make sure they're on track with scheduling and that they will be done. The last day, as you'll hear from our schedulers, is June 12th. You'll also want to make sure that your users know on the day your scheduled end of year day. The users are not able to log in to PowerSchool until the process is complete. When we run end of year process, you're familiar. We communicate with you once that is complete and done, and that users may now resume logging in. We do have our first end of year training following the May district leader meeting. That'll be on Thursday, May 14th. It'll be in the afternoon at 1 p.m. We do have 2 other virtual sessions scheduled. One will be on Thursday, May 21st at 9 a.m. and the other Tuesday, May 26th at 9 a.m. Please plan to attend one of these sessions. We walk through the checklist, we answer questions, we have discussions about end of year. So it's a good opportunity. This is obviously something we only do once a year, and we know many of you are experienced and familiar with it, but we appreciate the discussions as we walk through this. So please navigate to our calendar to sign up to register to attend. Again, we'll be running end of year processes in June according to our schedule. And we're going to stick to that schedule unless there's an emergency situation that, would warrant a change. We're going to keep to those dates as assigned. I think there's a question. They want to know the window of when. Okay. Yes, I can pull that up for you. Let me. Yes, the week of June 15th and June 22nd. That is the 2-week window. Thank you. Yes. All right. And our last reminder here is we will be offering our next district leader meeting with both an in-person and a virtual option. We would love to see each of you for the district leader meeting in the morning at 9 a.m. at the and then in the afternoon for the end of year training. We will be at the ESC building, the same building we were at last year, which is right next door to the Meta Columbus office. We've reserved the conference rooms that we had last year will be in the same location. We will have a lunch provided. This is our way to show our appreciation for each of you, and it's our expression of gratitude for the work you do throughout the year. So we would love to have that time to visit with you, have lunch, and have those meetings in person. We'll also plan to have some fun prizes and giveaways to make the day even more enjoyable. So we'd love to see you. Please register to attend. You can register to attend in person or virtually. We want to know how everyone is planning to attend. You can go to our events calendar to sign up to attend. Back to our schedule here. We're actually going to go ahead. Susan is available now, so we're actually going to go ahead and continue with the agenda as outlined. We'll have chronic absenteeism update with Susan now.
Thank you, Sally. So I wanted to go ahead and give you an update on attendance, the functionalities that we have added based on customer requests. As Sally stated, the governor has came forth with an attendance dashboard that will be released. We're just starting to get, the details involved with that. An email was sent yesterday. We can tell you that the default would be to opt in. So we're getting questions if, my district has opted out. Well, no one has opted out yet. So, if you get that question, you will know that to start here. So some of the things we have added, you will notice on the truancy and chronic absenteeism summary, we have added the ability to set your own thresholds for the truancy and chronic. We did this based on, it's now every district can decide what they want based on their district policy. The max the state has said you can do is 5%. So your district may opt to do 3%, they may do 5%, whatever, but you can set your defaults for your district by clicking the blue here hyperlink that I've displayed. And this is the screen that will pop up. And if you enter, for instance, if you were saying 5% of 910 hours, that's 45.5. So you might want 45.5 as your threshold. Or if you're 3%, it would be less than that. Whatever your school day is based on your school day hours. And, if you can choose to use the state minimum hours or your district's hours. So these are all user defined, and you can save those truancy prefs at, in each building, each user. So that is available now. We did have the request to be able to use the old House Bill 410 rules through FY26 school year. So we have added, you'll notice there's a checkbox on the truancy chronic summary. If you check that box, you will see the numbers that are displayed go back to where, it excludes medical, for instance. And you can see, I've given you two examples here. This is with the same selection of students. Here is with the box checked, and here is with the box not checked. So you can see it's drastically different numbers, drastically different results based on if you've got that box checked or not. That's also available in the downloads for, whichever way you choose to run that using the old rules or the new. I wanted to make sure everyone was aware that there is a code set for absence action taken. This is an example only. I just, made these up. This is not what every school needs to be doing. Again, your district policies are what you would want to set up in here in code sets to help track your absence intervention as you work through, the new requirements. So with the March release, we've also added the capability to filter on those. This was a request that came from one of the districts. So for instance, if you just wanted to see the students that are at risk and have had a mentor assigned, you'll be able to filter on that, and then it would show you, the screen actually shows you the actions, but then you'll be able to filter by those actions as well. And then you can also download that in PDF, Excel, or CSV formats. So you can see here the action column and the action notes are in the download as well. Again, that is added with the March release, which is scheduled for next week. Will be in your PowerSchool next weekend. The data access tags, we've had lots of requests for these. So we have added 2 more with the March release, which again will be available next week. But currently you have the ability to there's a present DAT. And what I did was just gave you an example of one student here. I took out the student name and all that, but you can see you can now get it either in the decimal format or the hours and minutes. We had requests for that, so that's available. And you can see this DAT for present would be the total possible hours minus the total absence hours, and that is the 286.94 or 286 hours, 56 minutes. The present DAT I've displayed here with the addition of the fields. Our DATs do export student name and student number, but if you do not want that for whatever you're using the DAT for, you can add before the arguments the fields that you do want. So you can see when I ran this present DAT with hours and minutes, and I just put down the present hours underscore time, this is the result I got, the 286.56. So that's 286 hours, 56 minutes. So I wanted to give you an example of how you get rid of the student name and student number if you need to just pull in the hours for whatever you're using this for, as well as show you that you can just get the minutes, hours and minutes without the decimal. We left the medical hours in there at a request from districts. They realize that medical hours are no longer exempt or excluded from the totals. However, they wanted the ability to continue to perhaps in their letters say, your student has missed this much. We realize this much of it is medical, but, moving forward, whatever. So we did leave, you do still have the ability to get the medical hours in a DAT. Truancy hours did not change. You can see here, I've given you an example of excused for the month, but you can also run total absence, unexcused consecutive, unexcused month, and unexcused year. And these are the results that you would get. And you can see that it matches up to the download I have up here. So the 32.98, you can see in the medical hours they were all, for this student, all the excused absences were medical. In this example, so you can see that, and here's the excused. Again, it's the 32.98, and then you can see I have the total possible hours, which ties back to the 395.21. There's a DAT for that. These two are the new ones we are adding with the March release, which will be available next week. The total possible hours and the total absence percentage. You can see that ties to the 27.4. So you will be able to use the DAT tag to pull that in. And wanted to make sure you knew that you can still use, the House Bill 410 rules with your DATs. You've just got to add, the House Bill 410 equals yes to the DAT tags to get the prior, the obsolete totals for that. And again, any of these DATs above, if you need, to not have the student name and student number, if you add before the arguments the fields that you do want, that's how you get rid of the student name and number. I've had lots of questions for that. So that's the updates I have. Do I have any questions? Anything in chat?
Someone asked if the presentation would be available in our documentation after this.
It will be. Yes, thank you. And thank you, Sally, for allowing me to update everyone.
All right. Thank you, Susan. We'll go ahead. Next, we have a roster verification update with Steve.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Can you all see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to give a quick update with the roster verification. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for the cooperation and their fast turnaround of cleaning up any errors. This is, I think, our third year using Jitterbit, and I was surprised that most districts cleared off their validation very easily and quickly. But we still have a couple of districts, but as of now, everyone has been that has had their data submitted. And for those couple outstanding districts, we're working with the management council to get your errors fixed.
I'm guessing.
As you can see from the document, the timeline, we have just concluded our data loading phase, and we will resume Monday with the school setup phase where your building principals and other support team begin to log in to the link application. And this phase will continue until April 7th and so forth. So please note the dates on the timeline. and mark your calendars accordingly. Notifications should have been sent out by the Management Council, so check your email, look in your spam folder, make sure that you've been notified when it's your turn to log into the link application. And if I go to the link application, if this is your first time logging in for RV 2026, you're going to have to reset your password. I ran into this issue because they say it expires every 90 days. So just follow the instructions you're prompted here to reset your password. If you're still having issues, we'll go over to the roster support site. And if you scroll down, it's going to prompt you to tell them who you are, what district, and what role you have within the district. And just be specific about what your issue is. Now, here's where you want to go also. Once you get into the link application, if you're still having issues, come here and be specific with your issues with the Management Council. They'll work with you to get your problem fixed. That's all that I really had. I'm going to throw this document into the meeting folder. But again, I want to thank everyone for the cooperation and putting up with my nagging about your batch numbers. And I know I was about pain, but the data needs to be loaded by tomorrow, 4 p.m. So if you are validated and haven't gotten back with me, I'm going to submit your data. For those troubled districts that we're still working on the errors, we're going to work hard to get those fixed for you and get them submitted by tomorrow, 4 p.m. With that, I am done, and y'all have a good rest of your day.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Next, moving along in our agenda, we'll have a MyPowerHub update. Chris will go ahead and share and give you some updates with MyPowerHub.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. So I'm going to take a few minutes to provide an update on where we're currently at with MyPowerHub implementations, new and resolved bugs, and future enhancements that are in the works. So as of now, we have completed MyPowerHub implementations for 48 of our member districts. For those districts, I want to take a moment and just say thank you for getting that set up. Really appreciate that. Appreciate you guys being on top of getting that moving forward. For the remaining 33 districts, I'd like to reiterate that we do strongly encourage everyone who hasn't already scheduled their MyPowerHub implementation to do so as soon as possible. Remember, implementation doesn't require immediate activation for families and students. However, implementing now does allow districts time to familiarize themselves with the platform before having to go live. Meta's goal is to have all districts implemented for the start of the 26-27 school year, and early implementation helps the district to ensure a smooth transition and ample time for training and adaptation. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and move forward. I'd like to discuss the implementation process, some updates on that, and kind of review some additional training that is available. So in order to streamline the implementation process moving forward, we are reaching out to PowerSchool, and we're going to advise them to go ahead and proceed with provisioning any remaining district URLs for MyPowerHub. This is being done to simplify and minimize the time that's needed for an implementation. Our prior process had been we would have someone with PowerSchool joining us, and they would start doing the provisioning live during that implementation process, and added some extra time. So this is going to help minimize the time needed for an implementation that's scheduled, and that's going to allow additional implementation availability for the remaining districts. If your district does not use the current parent-student portal at all, or if you have any concerns regarding the process of us doing our MyPowerHub URL provisioning, please send a ticket out to us, and we can work with you on a case-by-case basis to kind of set your mind at ease, or work with you on whatever may need to be done in a circumstance if you don't utilize MyPowerHub or the current parent portal in any way, shape, or form. Regarding training, for anyone who has been through an implementation already but may need a refresher, we do have an additional MyPowerHub quick reference document that's available on the Meta documentation site, as well as a refresher video that provides an overview of the MyPowerHub educator portal on our Meta YouTube page. There is, just a heads up, and pay attention here, there is still also one more PowerSchool provided MyPowerHub training later today at 1 p.m. I'm not exactly sure right now in this moment how many slots are left on that, but if there are any available slots left, you can still register for the event on Meta's events page up until noon. So again, there is a slight change to how we're going to be doing implementation with the provisioning, and then check that Meta events page if you want to get that additional training that PowerSchool is able to provide. So now let's take a second to acknowledge a couple of known bugs that we have found recently within the MyPowerHub environment. First, we have found that daily attendance is displaying duplicate attendance days when an attendance code is used for that day that has more than one code category applied. To clarify, you should be able to apply more than one code category. That's not the issue. It's just this display. We have verified that this is not creating multiple attendance entries within the SIS at all. Everything is working in the SIS just as expected. It's just a display issue regarding displaying the date within MyPowerHub multiple times. And this has been reported to PowerSchool. Their developers have acknowledged the issue, and they're currently working on trying to get that issue resolved. So hopefully that should come through in a upcoming update to get that issue addressed. Additionally, we have also received some tickets recently advising that some school bulletins that have been set to expire are still showing on the MyPowerHub bulletin power tile. Additionally, we have intermittently had some bulletins that should be displaying that aren't. This has also been reported to PowerSchool. Their developers are currently reviewing that issue to see if this is a large-scale bug or what they need, what they need to do again to get that moving forward and addressed. So those are a couple of the bugs that we've been seeing a few tickets come through on, and we have had to get up to PowerSchool to try and get addressed further. On a brighter note, the issue of only being able to display meeting attendance within MyPowerHub has been resolved. So daily attendance is now supported. So again, if at any point you were seeing issues, maybe turned off your power tiles for attendance because you were seeing that only meeting attendance seemed to be available, you might try checking that again. It should be working now. Of course, if you see issues there, as always, submit a ticket. We'll look at that with you. That's kind of all I have on the major bugs. Again, as always, if your district sees these issues or any other issues with MyPowerHub, please make sure to submit a case to us. Even if this is a known bug, and there's not anything that we can do on the Meta side to specifically fix it, the more examples of the issue occurring that we can get to PowerSchool, the more data they have to quickly resolve the issue. So again, don't hesitate in getting those out to us. If there's nothing we can do, we'll let you know. We'll get it up to PowerSchool engineers, and we'll keep you in the loop as to what they're advising us. Now, PowerSchool's not only working on bug fixes, of course, for us. They're also working on enhancements to MyPowerHub to make it even better. So let's get out that magic 8-ball and look into the future at a couple of items on PowerSchool's MyPowerHub future roadmap. First, PowerSchool is currently developing an enhancement to allow teachers to have access to the PowerSchool teacher portal, as well as the PowerTeacher Pro gradebook, all from within MyPowerHub. Once they've completed this enhancement, instead of having, you'll have the option, of course, you can allow teachers to have access to MyPowerHub if you so choose. And if you do that, instead of having to jump between the teacher portal and the teacher gradebook, educators will be able to perform all of their daily tasks like taking attendance, creating assignments, entering grades, and so on. All of that could be done within the MyPowerHub portal. So they have basically a single pane of glass to kind of, as PowerSchool likes to say, single pane of glass to kind of work through for both the teacher portal and the PowerTeacher Pro gradebook. Again, that is actively in the works. And as soon as they have that released, I'll make sure communication gets out to everyone to let them know that that is available. Also, another thing that I saw coming through on the roadmap, PowerSchool is working on MyPowerHub personalization and enhancements. This will provide options that let the district shape the admin and student experience to make it their own. This includes support for district logos, color themes, and more control over power tile visibility. So again, another great step in making your, the new MyPowerHub portal for parents, students, and everyone a little more unique for each district, and just kind of give it your own, your own flair. There are actually several other items on PowerSchool's MyPowerHub roadmap. Many of those enhancements were related to integration with other tools, or they pertained to functions available with other, non-meta versions, at your own expense upgrades available from PowerSchool. So I haven't dived into that a whole lot as some of those other updates or enhancements are coming along. If you're interested to view the complete roadmap for PowerSchool enhancements, you can navigate to the PowerSchool community page. On that PowerSchool community page, you should be able to click on the roadmap drop-down menu and then select MyPowerHub, and you'll get a whole list of recent enhancements that are in progress, and then future enhancements that they plan to be working on next. So finally, again, just want to reiterate this: to get started with the MyPowerHub implementation, if you haven't already, districts can book their implementation appointment by visiting the scheduling link that you can see on this PowerPoint presentation, or you can scan that QR code if you'd like for easy access to our MyPowerHub bookings page. And once you get a spot booked with us, you'll get a communication out from us because we'll create a meta ticket to be able to provide that additional communication to you and to collaborate with you on moving forward with your district's implementation. Again, that's all I have at this point. I really appreciate your time, and hope you'll have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you, Chris. We will go ahead and we'll proceed in our agenda now. Stephanie will present our PowerSchool release updates, some important information to share regarding the 26.1 and 26.2 updates.
Good morning, everyone. As Sally mentioned, I'll be covering what's new in PowerSchool 26.1 and 26.2. We have some nice features and enhancements, as well as some bug fixes to cover today. So we'll go ahead and jump right in. Starting with new features and enhancements in 26.1, these were applied to your live environments on February 21st, so you should see all of these at this time. The first enhancement is for language, which has just been updated for clarity when using the copy feature for calculation settings and standards. I've listed the breadcrumb here for both pages where you'll see that change. Next up, we have an update for PowerTeacher Pro, which will be helpful in preventing errors. Administrators can now limit the categories available for selection on assignments if you're using category weighting, so that teachers don't accidentally use a category for an assignment that won't then count towards the student grade. I've included the breadcrumb here if you'd like to enable that feature. And if this sounds familiar, it was actually released in 25.11, but they found some issues, so it was removed, and it is now being re-enabled. Finally, we have a small update to reports. If you are using a right to left text such as Arabic on object reports, form letters, or mailing labels, those will now display as expected when running in a left to right locale such as English. We have another enhancement in 26.1 that I think will be helpful, as we all know how pesky fees can be. You can now enable change history for fee types and student fees. So hopefully that will be helpful with troubleshooting you may need to do. I've included screenshots here of the information that you'll be able to view as far as the change history details, as well as the breadcrumb if you would like to enable that option. Next up, we have a new feature for standards, which should be a great time saver when you need to make changes or updates to your standards. So you'll now have the option when changing a parent standard to cascade that change to all of the child standards below it. For example, in the screenshot here, if you needed to add a new course for your language arts standards, you would open the parent standard, which in this case is 1.LA language arts. You would add the new course and then scroll down to the bottom section of the settings, also shown here, cascade to child standards. You would check the box for courses and then submit, and then that would add the new course to all 6 of those child standards below 1.LA language arts. As you can see, there are quite a few other fields that will also allow you to cascade changes from the parent to child standards. So again, this should be a nice time-saving feature when you do need to make some changes to your standards. We have several fixes in 26.1 as well. For grading, the average final grades process no longer displays an error when averaging a grade that does not exist in the course's grade scale. In PowerTeacher Pro, adjusting category weighting within a grade calculation formula in the gradebook sometimes resulted in incorrect category totals on the review grade calculations page under grading traditional. That issue has been fixed. For security, LDAP users will no longer receive an error when attempting to enroll in multi-factor authentication. And finally, a student update. So the birthday alert will now display correctly in Spanish. Moving on to features and enhancements in 26.2. As mentioned earlier, these will be applied this weekend, so you'll be seeing these features very soon. First, we have a plugin enhancement. So any plugin link access restrictions that were applied prior to a plugin update will now be restored as part of the update process. So that's a nice feature. You won't lose those when making updates. We also have a scheduling update, which is, of course, particularly relevant this time of year and hopefully will be a time saver for those of you working on schedules. So the server-side build engine has been enhanced to fail early when unresolvable oversubscribed conditions exist, such as period restrictions for the teacher or the course when checking if the courses can fit. So hopefully that'll just save everyone a little bit of time. So with PowerSchool's focus on security, we have several security-minded updates to the substitute portal. So the login screen will now only show schools that have an in-session day on the current day. It will also only show schools based on the current time and bell schedule. So just kind of tightening up the access there. The number of hours the school is listed before school starts and after school ends can be controlled under the system security settings screen. Please note any settings here, those are system-wide. The default values are 1 hour before the first period of the day based on that day's schedule and 1 hour after the end of the last period. So again, just tightening up that access. The define substitute password page has been updated to now require a 12+ character password. Any existing passwords less than 12 characters will remain unchanged and continue to work. But when the time comes to update that, you'll need to have 12 or more characters. It's also recommended that districts who do not use the substitute portal go ahead and disable that on the system security settings screen. And additionally, it is strongly recommended that if you are using the substitute portal, that you just change that password regularly. As far as fixes in 26.2, the system will now properly display an error if a medication is expired. Multi-day attendance accurately preserves attendance comments for all students when submitting changes across different dates. And then we have another security-related fix. So when multi-factor authentication is enabled on a teacher or admin account, users will no longer be prompted to update their password. That's all I have today. If you're interested in more information about these releases or other releases, I've linked the release notes in PowerSchool community on this slide. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. We'll go ahead and continue with our agenda. Lindsay will be up next, presenting the Meta Customizations Catalog Updates.
I apologize. We had some users that were getting an API error. That has been corrected. And then we're working on some districts appear that you need to do the installer update first. You're seeing the new Meta security audit as a future release. So if you can please do the installer update and then go through, and that should update for you on the security audit item. All right, so what's new in the Meta Customizations catalog for March 2026? I know we talked at the beginning, we did have quite a few new updates, so thank you for all those who are working on that. You'll see on the appropriate pages, we've added the breadcrumbs just to help you if you would like to follow along live in your environment to see the new enhancements and bug fixes as we go. So the one that we're going to cover is attendance. On the attendance overview page, you may have noticed that there was an error if you were trying to enter attendance from the district office. Before, this was only on the daily attendance overview page, but now this has been added to the meeting page as well. And also on this page with the exact same thing, we did correct a bug fix. There were some issues with when you were going from the daily attendance overview page, and then you would click on that school. Upon moving to the correct school, the actual user ID was lost. The student record would be lost. So that is something that has been corrected. So you should not see that again. And along with all of our wonderful attendance updates for the state of Ohio, all of the banners have been updated to be the truancy chronic attendance information. So you will not see the HB 410 information anymore. This has also been fixed for the parent portal. It had not been updated, but it is now. So once you get all of your new plugins updated, that will be corrected in parent portal as well. And then just to keep historically accurate, any years prior to 2025 will have the HB 410 data on the banner, but obviously there won't be any monthly information since it's a prior year. And our report cards. A bug fix, we had several districts get a hold of us and let us know if you had a student that was dropped from a course and then later re-enrolled in that same course and the same section, and it was the same teacher, the teacher information was showing twice on the report card. And that was because the teacher was showing a preferred name in the teacher information. So that has been corrected. And then if it's a student that's re-enrolled in the same course, but with a different teacher, the withdrawn teacher, so your first teacher, will show up italicized on the report card. All right, excluded terms. As we were going through, we saw the asterisk for the excluded terms was showing on a separate line, which was underneath the teacher information. So we have updated that asterisk to follow the teacher's name, so it just looks a little nicer and takes up less space on your page. And as we were going through this, we decided a nice little sneak peek for you for any excluded terms for next year. They are going to now have a new opacity look. So you will see that the styling of this will be slightly grayed out with the bars on it. So just a little more evident, little cleaner to show you that these terms are going to be excluded from the report card. All right, published grades. We showcased this last district leader meeting, and we are just continuing to perfect this for our users. You now can see on here the days and the time. So there's no guessing with that wonderful 11:59 issue that we had before on this. You will immediately just be able to put in what time you would like. And then you'll notice the next line is the next quarter end date. So this is automatically populating for you from the create final terms. This is going to also show then the next line, the publish Q3 grades. So this is telling you that with your settings here, your 2 days at 7 a.m., that upon your next end term date, this is when these will be published for you. So another very important thing to keep in mind that I know Sarah covered last district leader meeting, that anything that's in the portal terms removed. So a term to exclude is going to override anything in our published grades setting. So please make sure to be very aware of this setting above will override. So if you're using the published grades, which we feel will be extremely useful to the districts, please just be aware if you have both sections filled out. All right, more report cards. One of the bugs we noticed was that the school override indicator wasn't showing up immediately. So if you made a setting at district office, you go to the school, you update at the school, the override was not showing immediately. So that is there for you. And then we had several districts reporting on their grade cards that the page break was not being honored. So we had multiple grade cards showing on one page. So this has been corrected. It is working in Firefox and in Chrome. Something we are currently working on in Firefox is having Firefox honor the allow standards to split across the columns. It was showing some extra white space. So if you do notice that, and if you use Firefox, please switch over to Chrome and see if that will correct the issue for you. Another bug fix in the report builder on the transcripts. If a course was showing on 2 lines due to it having differing credit types, we were able to honor that. So now they are on 1 line, so they won't be separated out anymore. And then as several users know, scheduling season is in full bloom, and some may have noticed that the alert sizes for the students alert were very large to very small. So we went in there, we corrected that for you. You should not see that anymore after the updates, and then they should all be showing up as you would anticipate. All right, the next thing is a new enhancement on our contact consolidation log viewer. This will be extremely convenient. After you have gone in and you have completed your consolidating contacts, you can now see what was done. So if you click anywhere on your latest consolidation records, it will populate what records were included in that. And then for this example, we're going to use Barbara Adams. If I just click on Barbara Adams' information, now we can see what all was consolidated. So you can see here there were 4 records, and they have been consolidated into one. So if you ever need to go back and just make sure that you have a thorough view of what information was consolidated, this viewer is very handy for you. All right, and a sneak peek, our latest project. I know we've told some people that we're working on this large project right now for customizations. So we're our main focus is on this, and that is our historical grade builder loader. So this is replacing the previous Career Center conversion tool and will function very similarly to our test loader results builder. The historical grade builder will be able to convert files from multiple SIS packages, and it will allow you to map your fields as necessary for import. So we are working on this. This is our main focus project right now, and we are hoping for completion prior to any S2 imports. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Lindsay. All right, and last but not least, we have some PowerScheduler updates. Kim Anderson will be sharing those with us now.
Okay, so PowerScheduler, we just have a few reminders and updates to close out today's meeting. And first of all, just to let you know, our virtual work days are in full force right now. We're every Tuesday for virtual days. We are in person. We are in person either Wednesday or Thursday of every week. We do have our last in-person workday up in Strongsville for our northern districts on April 15th. So if you are one of those, just remember we do have that up there, and we'd love to have you join us up in Strongsville. Just a couple gentle reminders for district leaders. Please check in with your schedulers. Your PowerScheduler buildings, the ones that are using the scheduler, should be in full force and should now have a scenario. There are a couple questions that you may want to ask. Is there a master schedule? Are courses set up? And do they have requests entered? Some of the districts, may not have requests entered quite yet, and that's okay. They probably are on their own timeline, which is fine. But this is just a few things to make sure that we are keeping them on track and ready for that June date. So again, this is just a few questions that we threw out there just so that you could check in with your schedules. Also, just encourage them to attend a work day or put in a case, as questions arise. And we always, tell everybody at our virtual work days and our in-person work days, if something comes up in the meantime, between the weeks, between the work days and the in-person and the virtual, please reach out to us versus a ticket, because we will we'll be right on top of getting those done as well. So a few updates then is the buildings that are not using PowerScheduler, they are, we have our life site scheduling coming up for those buildings, mostly our elementary buildings. As district leaders, we need to make sure that there is a full year term created in those elementary buildings. The life site schedulers will need to update their terms after their copy. So they know what to do. Usually those buildings, we'll walk them through all of that during the life site trainings. But if they are using PowerScheduler, make sure those dates are accurate for the load for all terms as well. So those are just a few little updates that we have, regarding that. Back to the life site scheduling trainings, we do have those on the books now. April 29th is our in-person training in Columbus. We have had a few ask about that. So that is our date in Columbus. We do have 2 virtual trainings as well, one in the morning and one in the afternoon in May. So one on May 7th, one on May 20th. And as of right now, there are no more PowerScheduler trainings. Again, we're working individually with those schedulers on the work days. As a reminder, last year we did add a new custom student course request report for you. You can print this report, hand it out to students if you'd like to give them a printout of the request for next year. We love this report. Our schedulers love this report. So I've included instructions again on how to get to that report by student if you want to run it by student. And I've also included on how to run that report by selecting a group of students. So again, and that was just a really good thing that we added last year. So I wanted to bring that up again, just as a reminder to everyone, that report is out there and in use. If for some reason you are having trouble finding the report or don't see the report, please just put in a Salesforce ticket. One of us will get that to you or get you help with that as soon as possible. And lastly, please always encourage them to contact our scheduling team with any questions at ps.scheduling.support. They are able to reach out to that contact, one-on-one to us. So we will meet with them if needed, virtually. We can, set up time for them in the office, whatever is needed for them throughout this process. And as always, our final day of PowerScheduler is Friday, June 12th. That is a hard stop on that PowerScheduler, the builder. So please just continue to remind them of that date. Other than that, I feel like scheduling is going well for most districts this year. So again, just encourage those questions. Just check up with them, see where they're at in their process, and have them contact us if needed. And that's all I have.
Okay. That is all we have on our agenda for our district leader meeting today. We want to remind you that we will be meeting again in May. This time of year goes very quickly, so we will all blink and then be joining one another again in May for the end of year district leader meeting. We appreciate you attending today. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.